England Women's Player Partnership is set up to replicate the Team England Player Partnership, which is set up for the men's game of cricket for international. The England Women's game has obviously progressed massively in the last 3 or 4 years since the women became professional, so it gives the PCA the opportunity to look after the commercial rights of all the women and work on their behalf from contracts with the ECB.
Yeah, it's great that the PCA is sort of in charge of it there. They've been brilliant in terms of developing the player partnership and obviously to have sort of them being the only sort of sole body in charge of it and having our best interests at heart is really good to see. The most important thing that every sort of player gets input into the partnership and expresses any issues or anything that's going well. So yeah, I guess I'll kind of be the voice a little bit for that, but the main thing is everyone sort of gets a say and we can sort of lead forward together.
You don't necessarily have a huge amount of support when you're playing county cricket like you would in the men's side of the game, so then when you come to represent England it can be quite kind of overwhelming and things like that, so to have the PCA there all the time able to support those young players in that kind of transition period coming through, as well as the work we do as a team, again is hugely important. It's a vital part of how we operate.
A lot of it is around their contracts. The basic sort of contract that the women have had over the last few years has been far behind what the men have had and also the support that sort of goes with it, so they now have a fully fledged system that shows that they've got a full-time contract and all the things you would expect from an employment contract in this day and age, and it makes the PCA sort of their first point of contact on their behalf. But this is a massive step to give them the sort of credibility and the recognition that they deserve.
The tiny things that make a big difference to us as players, and our performances on the pitch will reflect kind of, you know, how we're sleeping, with what rooms we're put in and whatnot. I think, you know, having the PCA to be able to deal with those sort of smaller issues through this partnership really takes the pressure off us having to worry about it and then also argue it or maybe debate it with the ECB, and knowing that the PCA have got our back, but also working really well with the ECB and having a really close relationship there is only taking the women's game forward.
So much more sort of commercial and TV interest, etc. has sort of come into the game, and obviously as players that's quite new to us, and it's great to sort of have the PCA on side to be able to look after that section for us. It's a great sign of where the game's at, and as a group of players we're very lucky to be involved when we are.
It's fantastic news. You know, I've been in the men's well for 30 years in a county game, and the support that the PCA give the players is fantastic, and for the girls to have that similar support, that similar protection and security behind them is wonderful. The change that's going along is tremendous, and within that change you can get some insecurities, and it's not always rosy, so to have that support and that independent people to go and get your advice for is fantastic.
We'll see over the next few years, with the England player partnerships, become more professional, the girls will get better, the training will change, the standard will keep going up and up and up, and that's ultimately, I think, how the game will become more successful.
See Women's Sport Week, and what better way to kind of mark how far the game's come and show that development. I think women's sport, not just cricket, sport all over the country is growing massively, and yeah, it's great to see sort of those come in, and hopefully we can get a win on Saturday to kind of top off the sports week.